Hi, my name is Erin Palo, and this is my presentation for Management 445, our final project. This project is about Microsoft. Today we will be going over the background of the company, the growth year over year, the domain, the employee organizational structure, the business level strategy, the business life cycle, strengths and weaknesses that Microsoft is currently facing, as well as a conclusion. So, who is Microsoft? The vision or the mission of Microsoft is to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. Our vision is to create innovative technology that is accessible to everyone and that adapts to each person's needs. The values: innovation, diversity and inclusion, environment, philanthropies, and trustworthy computing. So, Microsoft was founded on April 4th in 1975 by Paul Allen and Bill Gates in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's not a very well-known fact. A lot of people think that it was founded in Washington, where they now reside in Redmond, close to Seattle. They were originally founded to sell basic interpreters, but have obviously gone a different route and have innovated a lot more products than just that. In 1983, the company went global, and 30% of the world's computers were running off of Microsoft software. And in 1985, Windows was officially launched and went public the following year, in 1986. 1988, Microsoft became the biggest global PC software company. Following in 1995, Internet Explorer was officially launched. 2001, the company kept growing and innovating new products, releasing the Xbox. In 2009, Microsoft released a search engine known as Bing. 2010, a new phone. As well, in 2014, a new CEO was introduced to the company to create new strategical and organizational changes. This was actually their third CEO in just 39 years. Next, we will go over the company growth. The company started with just 2 employees. It was just Bill Gates and Paul Allen, and now has grown to be over 200,000 employees. They went from just creating those basic interpreters to now leading the global technology markets. They have a lot of goals, though. The goals by 2018 are to have a net income of $20 billion in the global cloud revenue. That is supposed to say cloud. Their second goal by 2018 is to have 1 billion Windows 10 activated devices per month. So the company is still growing. They're still in the growth period. They're not looking at stopping anytime soon. They're still trying to keep up with their competitors. So the domain: customers, distributors, unions, competitors, suppliers, and the government are specific parts of the environment that make up this organization. Producing different products for different customers increases the complexity. Microsoft is a very large corporation that creates and designs hundreds of different products worldwide, which leads to a very, very complex environment. Environmental is determined by how fast and how specific environmental forces can change. An organization is considered to be stable when the environment forces affect resource supply in a predictable manner. An environment is considered unstable when the environment forces change quickly and are unpredictable. Environmental richness is dependent of the quantity of resources that is available for an organization's domain. Microsoft is very environmentally rich because the company has an abundance of resources. The majority of Microsoft's resources are reliable and have low uncertainty. Microsoft is such a large company, it leaves little room for uncertainty. Each part of the environment is closely studied each year to leave little room for error. The organizational structure: Microsoft has 118,000 full-time employees, 60,000 in the U.S., 58 international employees. These employees are put in different categories. There are 39,000 research and development, 29,000 employees in sales and marketing, 32,000 in product support, 8,000 in manufacturing, and 10,000 in administration. So Microsoft began as a flat structure. There was just 2 employees. There wasn't really room for a hierarchy. But when it was first founded, it was flat and gradually expanded to a tall hierarchy. In 2010, Microsoft actually reorganized into a divisional organization. Each division focuses on a specific line of goods and services. It also has each department has their own research and development, sales, and customer service staff. Microsoft does continue to face communication issues between departments, which is a common problem with organizations face that have tall hierarchies. This problem could potentially delay decision making and can potentially create greater issues. When Microsoft was a small organization, it was more centralized, but when the organization became complex, it migrated towards a balance of centralized and horizontal differentiation. In 2013, the CEO announced that it was working towards having more collaborations between departments, lengthening the hierarchy to have more horizontal positions. All these changes were to increase the communication and leave less room for error. But Microsoft is taking a very bold approach by restructuring and reorganizing to better align their services and products with their mission and vision. In 2015, Microsoft announced that it would completely reorganize its senior management to foster more developmental and leadership that is necessary to help facilitate better communication amongst the functions of the organization. Overall, Microsoft does a fantastic job managing its hierarchy because they take the action that's needed when practices are not currently working. They're willing to take the risk to make the changes necessary to make the company successful. The business level strategy. So the principal strategy is stated on this slide. We are a successful organization because we level innovation with trustworthiness, security-oriented, and reliable. We are reliable. At this moment in time, this is not something that needs to be focused on as one of our weaknesses. We are competitive enough if we stick to our mission and values while we sustain low prices. Microsoft offers the lowest prices to reach greater volumes. Their strategy is greatly influenced by their capabilities in technical marketing. With technical and marketing. Microsoft is successful in pursuing this type of organizational strategy because Microsoft leverages innovation with trustworthiness in their products and security oriented that makes them more reliable. Microsoft is, of course, an international company, so we also have an international strategy, which is simple: build from the bottom up. Microsoft's global expansion strategy is to build from the bottom up, allowing under or lesser developed countries to have the capability and accessibility of technology. Microsoft has partnered with Qualcomm to manufacture a low-cost cell phone to allow people in these areas internet access that was not previously accessible. These companies are pushing boundaries and opening up markets that were unreachable through expensive telecommunication devices. Microsoft is using a low-cost strategy, though, in order to push mass retail out to make sales in emerging markets, and then will focus on developing further technology to meet the demand. For this project, Microsoft is using a global strategy with an interrogation structure to ensure low-cost materials and devices are added to the new markets, which require integration structure before it can expand. So Microsoft's business life cycle, Microsoft has not quite reached the maturity stage. They're still growing. So the textbook characterizes Microsoft to be in the second stage of the life cycle, which is still the growth stage, as I mentioned. During this stage, organizations tend to acquire new resources, which allow them to grow. Microsoft did this when they were able to obtain the MS-DOS system. That resulted in Microsoft being able to hire more computer programmers. A current problem, though, that Microsoft is facing right now is organizational amorphism. Due to the fact that technology is constantly changing, companies such as Microsoft and Apple are constantly trying to get their hand on the latest technology, which oftentimes results in similar products. More specifically, though, Microsoft faces some amorphism. Microsoft, along with Apple and other big tech companies, are recently in the news for child labor in Africa. Microsoft, along with other companies, were accused that they had zero tolerance, though, for child labor. Nonetheless, the allegations resulted in bad publicity for the companies involved. This forced Microsoft to reevaluate their suppliers and make a great deal of changes. I'm not sure how Microsoft managers are trying to solve these problems. However, I do think that a solution is trying to innovate technology and products that are different from their competitors. When a company has amorphism, the media tends to group them together. They tend to say, oh, if Apple is doing this, and they create the same products as Microsoft, then Microsoft must be doing the same thing as well. It's easy to group large companies together and accuse them all of doing the same thing if the products they're producing are so similar. Microsoft has shown stages of decline, particularly with declining PC sales and mobile phones. They struggle to compete with Apple, but they definitely try to keep up. Both successfully and unsuccessfully, they have been able to do so. With the decline of PC sales, Microsoft tried to move into the tablet world in a more app-friendly based products. They came out with the Surface, which the initial tablet was a major letdown, costing the company $900 million. But luckily, Microsoft issues were hardware issues that they quickly rebounded and have since come out with a faster, more efficient version of the Surface tablet. With the phone industry, after Microsoft saw declining sales year over year, they decided to focus on the less developed countries and bringing a solid, dependable phone to those areas rather than spending millions on research to develop and improve the phones within the market in the US. Microsoft changes to focus to be more adaptable to what customers want, such as cloud-based computing and moving towards being open sourced. These improvements will allow Microsoft back in the technology world competition and allow them to stretch their life cycle before they go into a declining stage. Microsoft is such a large company. It has many strengths and weaknesses. These are just a few. For example, a strength is brand reputation and brand loyalty. Once someone starts having Microsoft products, they stick with the company because they know they're reliable and they know it's a good company to stand behind. They have very strong distribution channels, regardless of what the media states. They do have some weaknesses, though. There was a media outlet that they have some security flaws, so that is a big opportunity for Microsoft to focus on. They also need to work on being faster to innovate and being able to keep up with their competitors, especially with Apple. So what is next? What should Microsoft focus on now? Keep innovating, expand in the structure of the company. They need to focus on if they're going in to change the structure, and it's happened a couple times in the lifetime of the company, that they need to make sure they're sticking to their values and sticking to their mission statements. Well, thank you for watching and have a fantastic